Welcome to Video 7, Counting Jar Demonstration. This large group activity gives children the opportunity to count physical objects. To bridge the connection between subitizing and counting, apply the counting principles, and use counting strategies. The materials you'll need for this activity are a large clear jar or other clear container, objects to count, and a tray. Please refer to the activity instructions for how to individualize for your classroom. This activity provides the opportunity to use the following key instructional practices for meaningful counting. Model counting perceptually subitizable object sets of 1 to 3 objects using slow, deliberate, one-to-one tagging and statements of cardinality. Observe how children count. Ask questions that encourage the use of counting skills and strategies, and address counting errors with individualized instruction. Ask children to identify the cardinal amount after they count, and vary 3 things when you count: set size, what is counted, and order in which you count objects. Let's join a couple of classrooms as they engage in this activity, and then listen in as the teachers reflect with a colleague.
This is my counting jar. Remember my counting jar? And today we have something to count. What do we have in this counting jar? We're just looking. We have rocks. So we're going to see how many rocks we have in our jar. What can we do? We can count them. What a great idea. So how about Jasper? Since you're right over here, can I give you my mat? And I'm going to give Jasper the jar. And you can count how many are in the jar, and we'll count with you, okay? So let's watch Jasper. Let's see what he's going to do. Let's figure out how many. It's his turn. All right, he's dumping them all out. You're going to count now? 1, 2, 3. You'll get a turn. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So Jasper, how many rocks did you count?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
We'll try that again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So just Jasper. Jasper, how many rocks do you have? You have 8 rocks. And did you see Jasper took the rocks out, he dumped them all out, and then he counted them to figure out how many. Lisbeth, do you have another way to count?
Thanks for having me, Lisa. Come and watch Counting Jar. What kind of counting skills did you notice your children using?
I saw that the children pretty much had stable order up to 8 or 9. One of the children had, Lisbeth, had one-to-one tagging. She had that pretty well down, but I noticed Jasper had a harder time. He seemed to start out tagging okay, but then I think he double tagged at some point. Yeah. And it seemed like it would be really helpful to help him slow down.
Yeah. I think after you had asked him to count, he did double tag, and then you asked him to do it again. Mm-hmm. And as he, carefully did it, I think you're right. So stable order, I think you're right. 8, even 9, mm-hmm. It was the tagging that really kind of tripped him up. But yeah, reminding them to slow down is a really good strategy, right? Because they have to keep track. We have to make sure that we're touching and saying the number word with the touch, one number word for each item, right? Okay, so we saw stable order with Lisbeth and Jasper to either 8 or 9. Any challenges that you noticed?
Well, I kind of looking back as I reflect, I was thinking it might have been a good idea to ask about cardinality. Maybe that would have helped to know, so how many did you count, Jasper? How many rocks was that? To see what he might say.
Well, and they're piecing all of these principles together, right? So it's making sure that I tag each one and say a number word along with it. It's knowing the number words. It's knowing that I have to recall what the last word said. They're really trying to coordinate a lot of information. So the number word order, they're good at, like with Jasper, at least to 9. But whether they have the cardinality, and I think this was with Elizabeth too, because it's interesting. You asked again how many, and she showed the same amount, 5, which was so interesting. What does that tell us then? What might you want to do to get a better sense of their cardinality?
Well, I think noticing when they're counting to always stop and ask, so how many, whatever it is they're counting, is that? And see if they can give me the number if they start over again or how they respond.
Yeah.
That'd probably be a good idea.
Yeah, and maybe, again, we know that they've got stable order up to this point. We're not sure about cardinality, so maybe bringing down the quantity a little bit to really see where that information breaks down. I noticed with both of them when they did show you on their hands, even though they didn't say it, right? But they showed the 5. You, after a while, just said, it's 8. You have 8 rocks, and kind of just moved along. Can you tell me a little bit about why you did that?
Yeah. Well, I was concerned that everybody else might think this is 8 or this is the answer. But I didn't also want to make I didn't want to make the kids feel bad. I didn't want them to feel like they had the wrong answer. So I just thought, I'll say it matter-of-factly. I'd already given them a chance to try it and just move on, because I know I'm going to have other opportunities to bring that into the conversation. This is my counting jar today, and I have something different in here today. And we have to figure out how many are in my jar. How are we going to figure that out?
We have to count.
Oh, what a great idea. Do you want to start counting for us? Okay, I'm going to give you our mat. And then, Alina, we're going to watch, see what she does and how she counts, and then we'll count with her when she gets ready to count. 1, 2, we're counting with Alina.
What is she saying?
3, 4, 5, 6. Not yet. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Didn't she say 15? 15 and then 16. So, Alina, how many did you count?
One, two, three, four. How do you want to put it? 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 17.
Oh, interesting. Okay. So we think there might be 17 in there.
Alina had a little bigger quantities, and these are those tricky teens, right? So what did you notice about her counting skills to begin with? And those were?
With Alina, these. I think she also had one-to-one tagging, but she needed help to slow down. I think she has maybe such a strong staple order, at least up to 15, that it's easy to just start saying it, moving quick and tagging without really paying attention. So it seemed like it helped her to slow down to help her kind of self-correct. I mean, I think if I had to go back and do it again, I mean, it's hard, but I think I would try to maybe suggest the children do more of a whispery kind of accounting, 1, 2. But we still have to watch and see what our lead counter is doing, because we have to say, as she's touching it, we need to just say the word at that time, but also the person counting can't be doing it fast either. So it has to be, we all have to kind of slow down.
And
watch
what
together.
a great conversation to have together, especially for those kids who don't have that synchroniness. The more you do this and the more kids see that and learn, like, okay, you're whispering, but remember you gotta watch her finger to see, or watch how they're counting, so that you are saying the word when you are touching it or when they're taking it out, whatever the strategy is, right? So that you're bringing these principles out, right? And they're seeing them, they're understanding them because we're in the moment and we're making all of those connections. What about her cardinality?
So she counted, I think because she did a couple different counts, she said 17, I think, a couple of times. I think somebody one of the children said 17 before she even got there, and so maybe 17. She just heard it and said it. Maybe she wasn't sure. I'll have to listen a little more intently as she's counting other things to hear how far she can go up. I'm wondering if I maybe had less for her to count and then kind of build it up slowly. And then this idea of teen numbers is kind of tricky.
They're tricky for a reason because those numbers don't follow that pattern that officially, I think, kicks off at like 20, right? Then it's 21, 22, 23. Just getting a hang of the word order, knowing that 16 will come after 15 every time, right? Because I think you're right. I think she confidently, after 15, she was like, 17. And you asked her at one point, because, right, I think one time she said 15, another she said 16, and then she said 17. So which one of those? We don't know if it's a cardinality issue or that we know it's also a stable order. But, right, she seemed to think 17 came after 16. So she was proud to say, yes, 17.
15.
15, she said 15, 17. Yeah. So I think it is more of a stable order thing. So maybe this is exactly right for her because I think she made it all the way to 15 without a problem. It was what comes next. So if we lower it, then we won't see what comes after 15.
So maybe having a few more after 15 to hear.
Yeah.
And
or
the
keeping
choral
it
counting.
at the same amount. And
too.
it's just a different collection and keeping it at 16. Or maybe one more, right? As long as it's close by so that right after 15 and having that discussion with everybody. What comes after 15? 16 comes, then 17, then 18, and there you start hearing those
The pattern there.
the pattern again, yeah.
Let's hear from another teacher about how and why she modified this activity.
Normally the counting jar is done in large group, but you chose to do it in small group today. Can you tell us a little about that?
Yeah, so I did counting jar as a whole group with the whole class, and I was really hoping to get a little bit more data from the 3 students that I did it in a small group. I just couldn't quite tell kind of where they were at, and I wanted to really have some sort of more specific observations of them. How many do we have? How many squares?
I got 2.
You got 2. Do you want to put them on here? 2. How many do we have now?
3.
3. Okay, let's keep going. There's more in the jar. How many now?
1, 2, 3, 4.
4 tiles now. How about now?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
So now we have 5 tiles.
I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Now we have 6 square tiles. Okay, let's keep going. Now how many?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
How many?
8.
8 squares. And looks like there's 2 more. Okay, they're all out of the jar now. The jar is empty.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
How many?
10.
10 squares? How did you figure that out? I noticed you were doing something with your finger. What were you doing with your finger? Were you touching each one so that you made sure that you counted every single one? I think Miguel and him worked together to grab, because yes, that was what, so he counted a set, and then Miguel would pass him a couple more, and I wanted to see if he would keep that cardinality of the 3 he had, I think, and then add 2 more, but nope, he started counting the whole set every single time. So I got really good data on his work, where is he in terms of cardinality, because every time he started back at 1 to count the set of 10.
Well, thanks for having me, Rocky, and letting me see just how you're modifying, you know, a large group to a small group
Yeah.
to really get a good picture of what your students know.
Oh, absolutely. I really did get a lot of good observation about what strategies they use to count.
Yeah, there's a lot that goes into counting that they've got to piece together. So
Absolutely.
better to do that as a community and all of us figure it out together and the different ways. There's so much to piece together.
Yeah,
So, thanks.
absolutely.